Hello and welcome back to a video on Football Zone and to a weekend review reviewing all of the Premier League action from this past weekend. And starting off with Manchester City, they recorded a comeback victory over Crystal Palace by 5-2. It was Eze and Richards who gave Palace the lead, and then De Bruyne, Mamouche, Kovacic, McAtee and O'Reilly were the goals from Man City, which made it 5-2. And yeah, I thought in the end, a really good performance from Man City coming back, all of that pressure, keeping them in the mix for the Champions League. But Palace will be disappointed, kind of so easy chucking away the advantage. At St Mary's, it was Southampton 0, Aston Villa 3. And yeah, Southampton's sorry season continues as they move on to their third manager of the season. Although, to be fair to them, Ramsdale did save 2 penalties, which kind of highlights how bad the scoreline could have been. They just got the rebound of one of them, but it was Watkins, Milan and McGinn. And yeah, in the end, Southampton may have held out for a while with a goal coming in the 70th minute, the first goal. But yeah, it was a dominant performance by Villa. They keep their European charge going, but Southampton, didn't really lay a glove on them. Moving on into a shock result at the City ground as a late goal for Ablaye Decore in the 94th minute gave Everton a result that I would say was probably deserving to win at Nottingham Forest. Forest weren't at their best here. Everton were, and a massive result for them under David Moyes. They'll be delighted with that, really starting to move forward. But for Forest, only 1 point ahead of Newcastle. Newcastle have a game in hand, only 2 points ahead of Man City, only 3 points ahead of Chelsea and Villa. Yeah, their Champions League prospects really are starting to come into a bit of doubt, to be fair. Moving on then to Brighton 2, Leicester 2 at the Amex, and it was João Pedro who gave Brighton the lead, and then Mavi Didi equalised. João Pedro scored another penalty before Uecl equalised in the 74th minute, and Brighton had much more of this game for sure, and really should have been out of sight, had so many chances, but just didn't take them, over 4 XG. But yeah, for Leicester, a good result for them. And yeah, maybe in a way they only conceded 2 penalties. Maybe they felt like they could have come away with a win, but improved playing for them, but probably too little too late. Arsenal 1, Brentford 1 was the score at the Emirates. And yeah, it was Partey who gave them the lead in the 61st minute after Tierney had a goal to start the first half. However, not long after that, Uecl made it 1-1. And obviously Arsenal weren't at their best here, but I think, it's fair to say their focus at the moment is probably on the Champions League and events surrounding that. So yeah, don't really blame them, to be fair, but for Brentford, a great waypoint for them. For Arsenal, they were going to win the title anyway. It's all about the Champions League. Moving on into Sunday's fixtures, and Wolves 4, Tottenham 2 was the score at Molineux, and surely this could spell the end for Ange Postecoglou, especially if the Europa League doesn't go right. It was 8-0, you gave them Wolves an early lead. Spencer scored an own goal, Tell gave Tottenham out before Larson made it 3-1. Richarlison got a consolation goal, and then Cunha soon after finished the game off. And yeah, in the end, Tottenham, just their defence is so fragile, isn't it? Serious problems. Pereira doing a great job at Wolves, but yeah, Ange really struggling, isn't he? Liverpool just about edged past West Ham 2-1 to move even closer to the Premier League titles, and it was Diaz in the 18th minute who gave Liverpool the lead. Robertson with an own goal made it 1-1 in the 86th minute, but Van Dijk popped up just a few minutes after that to restore Liverpool's lead late on. And yeah, in the end, it was quite a close game in terms of the stats. Liverpool, though, probably having the slightly better of the game. And yeah, West Ham, disappointing, but I think, obviously we know how tough LA Sound is go. I think they will be satisfied in some ways. Chelsea fought back from 2 goals down to take a point against Ipswich at home. It was Enciso Johnson who gave Ipswich a 2-0 lead before an own goal from Twanzebe, and Sancho with 10 minutes from time made it 2-0. And Chelsea were pushing for the winner, but in the end, couldn't find one. I think, they'll be really disappointed with that. Obviously, against Ipswich, it's a game that you'd expect them to win. Ipswich going 2-0 up. It's good performance by them. They'll be disappointed not to hold out, but for Chelsea, damaging for their Champions League coach, you'd say. And it was Newcastle 4, Manchester United 1 at St James's Park. Tonali gave them the lead in the 24th minute for Garnacho made it 1-1, and then Barnes with 2 and Guimaraes with another in the second half sealed a pretty comfortable win for the Toon. And yeah, great result for Newcastle overall. They'll be absolutely delighted with that. And yeah, United, their sorry season continues, their goalkeeping crisis continues, but Newcastle, a big win for them, even without Eddie Howe on the sidelines, and get well soon to him. In the Premier League on Monday, it's Bournemouth 1, Fulham 0, an early goal from Semenyo in the first minute, sealing the deal for Bournemouth. And yeah, they held out for the 89 minutes following that. And yeah, in the end, it's probably quite an even game, not a lot to pick between the two sides, but Bournemouth, for me, probably the better side. deserving of the win. And it's a big win for them in a complexion of the European battle. So they'll be absolutely delighted with that. Takes them above Fulham. And a few points off Villa. But, all it needs to do is put a good run together and one of the teams to fall behind. And they're right back in the race again. And in the European action coming up this week, obviously the second legs of what we saw in the past week, and starting off on the Tuesday with Aston Villa against PSG. PSG looks so impressive, don't they? It's going to be a very tough one if Aston Villa are going to be able to turn it around. Personally, I can't really see it happening. I think, they'll have too much quality, PSG, and at the end of a great Champions League journey for Villa. Moving on into Wednesday, and Arsenal at Real Madrid. Obviously, it's Real Madrid. You can never really rule out them coming back. I just thought Arsenal was so impressive, though. I think, they'll do it. I think it could be 1 or 2-0 to Real Madrid, but I just think Arsenal have that buffer to go through. And then in the Premier League on Wednesday night, we've also got Newcastle against Palace. It won't be an easy game for Palace this one. Newcastle obviously a very decent side, but I think they'll get a win, and that will leave them in a very strong position to qualify again for the Champions League. I think Palace not quite on the level of Newcastle. And then obviously in the Europa League, Chelsea, you'd expect them to go pretty comfortably against Legia in the Conference League without any dramas. But Manchester United and Lyon drawing 2-2. It feels like a big game. The keeper will obviously be very much scrutinised in this one. And Lyon aren't by themselves. United horrifically inconsistent. I think at Old Trafford you should back United to get through. And Tottenham and Frankfurt 1-1. That's going to be a massive game for Ange and his team. I think, Tottenham probably do have more quality. It's just about whether they can utilise it. Personally, I'm not so sure. I feel like this one could go extra time and penalties all the way. But I'm going to say Frankfurt just
anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials. Link in the description below for daily football news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.